Roblox, a gaming platform that skyrocketed to one of the biggest in the world. But how did it all start? I'm meeting with the co-founder and CEO, David Baszucki.
It goes back almost right when I got out of college.
Once a small company.
In those very early days, we had 100 people online.
Now with more than 80 million daily users, it's reaching children of all ages.
It's a little bit like having the opportunity maybe Walt Disney had a long time ago when he was designing the Magic Kingdom.
In his first ever BBC interview, we asked Dave how a small idea transformed into one of the biggest gaming platforms in the world.
We saw kids trying to build stuff. They wanted to jump into their creation.
And how he plans to deal with widespread criticism from parents that Roblox is not safe for children. Do you want to play a game that's not on Roblox? It was easy to get around that.
Every piece of text on our platform goes through a filter. We analyze all of that communication. We watch for bullying, we watch for harassment.
And as big tech increasingly dominates our lives, what role will Roblox play in the way we interact with each other? Describe Roblox in 3 ways.
The future of communication. You like that? Excited to meet with Zoe and do my first BBC interview. Anything you can advise me on? No advice? Okay.
Hello.
Good to meet you, Zoe.
Thank you so much for coming. Have a seat.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. It's great to be here.
Tell me about how Roblox began.
It goes back almost right when I got out of college, and I became interested in computers and using them for learning. And before Roblox, if you can believe it, I started a different company. It was called Knowledge Revolution.
Less catchy.
It was a longer name. We essentially built a physics experimentation kit on a computer. We saw something really interesting with this educational software. We saw kids trying to build stuff. They wanted to not just do their homework on it, they wanted to play and jump into their creations. They were making houses or ships or scenery, and they wanted to jump in. And all of the learning of that was the germination of Roblox.
And were you a gamer yourself at that point?
I was less of a gamer and more of an engineer. Both of me and then Eric, our co-founders, we were really into the idea of using computers to create a simulated environment.
And why the name? Why Roblox?
I love this question.
I bet you get asked a lot.
I don't actually get it asked very much. We had the notion when we started the company, wouldn't it be great if the name of the product was the name of the company? Wouldn't it be great if it was 6 letters or less? We started a big project, me, my family, Eric's families, putting together all these different words. We put together robot and blocks, and that turned out to be the one.
What gets you up in the morning?
I would say 95% of the time when I wake up, this is like the greatest job in the world. And it's a little bit like having the opportunity maybe Walt Disney had a long time ago when he was designing the Magic Kingdom. We really are, in a sense, working on a future communication technology. A long time ago, people were working on the phone system, and we had that, that initial phone call. And we've seen in the midst of COVID, a lot of us have used video to stay connected. And video communication 50 years ago was maybe a dream in the World Fair where we saw the demo, and now we're all using it. And our belief is that ultimately 3D is a way we'll communicate.
Along the way, you've had your ups and downs.
Yeah.
What have you learned along the way?
There have been times along the way, and we can really remember them, when it's been really difficult. We had one experience where more and more people were playing on Roblox, but from an economic standpoint, we were very early in the company's history, and we had I'd call a very primitive economic model. We had a club membership model that wasn't really working. And so we could see our users are growing and lots of people are having a great time and connecting on the platform, but we're not making any more money. And it's like getting harder to pay the bills.
That must be so frustrating, because on the one hand, you've got this massive success, but you're not monetizing it.
In this scenario, take the long view. We had known in the back of our heads that we felt the future of Roblox was a digital economy. And we had been having discussions with our board of directors. Would it be okay if people made a living on Roblox? We were having discussions, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
And what did your board say?
There was actually a lot of concern that this is a bad thing. This should just be a hobby. I believed that if people could make a living, we might see even better and better creations. And so it might actually accelerate the quality. And so we had this idea in the back of our mind that the ultimate thing is, let's have a digital economy. Let's have creators be able to make a living. Let's have a virtual currency.
The tech itself is evolving very quickly. Is it difficult to sit back and say, right, long view, slow down?
It is. And I'd say we're in the middle of it right now. So we recently announced a fairly ambitious goal of having 10% of all the gaming ecosystem in the world running on our platform. We have about 2.4% right now.
Which is massive.
That's already a huge responsibility, and that's already massive. 10% is really, really massive. We do feel, though, that the technology that we're working on is the next generation of how 3D will be consumed.
You have a very young user base, don't you? I think around 40% of your players are under 13, is that right?
That's right, and it used to be 70%. And we are seeing more and more of all ages. There's the under 13 segment, there's the 13 through 17, and then the 17 and up.
It's a big responsibility, though, isn't it, having such a young audience? I mean, your youngest players are 8.
I think that hit us literally when we had 4 people, and we had just launched Roblox. So if you could imagine 4 engineers experimenting with the very first version of Roblox at any one point in time, even though today we have millions and millions and millions of people online, in those very early days, we had 100 people online. We knew everyone in Roblox. We would chat with them. And it was that early. It was about 2 months after we went live that Eric, co-founder of mine, said, we have to build a trust and safety system. I'm seeing some people, act out a bit. I've seen them chat a bit in ways that we don't like. So the roots of building that system started very, very early.
But Roblox's stratospheric growth hasn't come without controversy. As its popularity with children soars, so too have complaints that it's not safe. From concerns about harmful content in its games to accusations the platform enables grooming, Roblox has also made headlines for the wrong reasons.
You're a parent. I know your children are older now. I'm a parent as well. And I have to say that Roblox is something that a lot of parents are concerned about.
Yeah.
I see a lot of talk on chat forums. I hear a lot from other parents.
Yeah.
It seems to be the app that they are worried about.
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
I do. I mean, this is a huge responsibility. We're optimistic that we're just getting better and better and better with our AI systems. We believe we have one of the best, if not the best, voice civility models out there. So 20,000 people have started using it. We do, in the company, take the attitude that any bad, even one bad incident is one too many. But at the same time, there are so many benefits on our platform. There's tens and tens of millions of people on our platform every day, and they're connecting, they're learning civility.
My son is 11, and he has an account on Roblox. And he showed me some of the games that he found. I wondered whether they were appropriate for an 11-year-old's. Special Forces Simulator, Late Night Boys and Girls Hub Roleplay, Call of Duty, Shoot Down Planes because why not, +1 fact every second. The Eyes Horror Deluxe, Squid Game. Those are quite adult-sounding titles for an 11-year-old.
Yeah, I would say in the case of these, when we look at the content on our platform, at first we have no tolerance for any kind of content outside of our guidelines or things. We do follow very closely, generally, game ratings from the countries we operate in. And I think there's a huge balance there, because a lot of 11 and 12-year-olds, I won't name all the other games they play, they are used to playing those types of experiences, and those games are rated for that type of age. So when we get into how we rate things, and a lot of times we mirror those types of guidelines, and when we rate experiences, we go through guidelines on, you can read all of our guidelines, and it gets into very much detail of what you might see within those experiences.
Roblox announced new safety features last year to protect children, including stopping under 13 accounts from being able to send direct messages. But this doesn't mean that older children can't still message with adults. Roblox does have a chat moderation system which identifies and removes inappropriate messages. But after making 2 fake accounts, one aged 15 and one aged 27, we were able to get around this system by making small grammatical changes to words. We can't show you exactly what we sent, but we were able to ask the teenage account for their social media details and to chat outside of Roblox.
I want to talk to you a bit about private messaging, because there's a lot of concern about what goes on in private chats between younger people and older people.
That's right.
We set up 2 accounts, one in the name of a 15-year-old and one in the name of a 27-year-old, and they were able to message each other directly. Is that a good idea?
I'll highlight a couple things. Some really, I think, things that hopefully parents can take away from this. Because Roblox is primarily, we use it for 3D communication, there's some very big differences between what we think of as social networking or social media. Unique thing about Roblox is it's not about sharing images, which is really cool. And sharing images is one area on other platforms where a lot of things we hear about that aren't too good start to happen. Another thing Roblox isn't is a platform where people just watch a lot of videos and by themselves watch it. So think of Roblox as a communication platform. On, I would say, almost every platform in the world right now, there's the belief that if you're 13 and up, you can just do whatever you want. And you can connect with people, you can chat with them, you can text with them freely. We're a bit different in that every piece of text on our platform goes through a filter. We analyze all of that communication. We watch for bullying, we watch for harassment, we filter PII, all of those kind of things. So it's not quite the same communication. And I would say behind the scenes, the analysis of what's going on goes all the way to, if necessary, reaching out to law enforcement.
But we did try to test those filters.
Yeah.
And we found that these were between 2 accounts that we'd set up ourselves, with a 27-year-old account saying to the 15-year-old account, have you got any other platforms? Can we chat somewhere else? That did get caught up by the filter. But it was quite easy to get around it. I just want to show you a quick screenshot. We just kind of put, do you want to play a game that's not on Roblox? And the answer was sure. And you can see here, when we tried to say, well, come to another platform, it did pick that up. But it was easy to get around that by just using an abbreviation. So I just wondered whether there is improvement to be done there.
I think you'll see us constantly pushing the limit. So once again, highlighting what you're highlighting in this scenario is, in a way, people saying, look, Roblox is so safe, we have to go somewhere else to hang out. We have to go to one of these other platforms where maybe we could share images or do that, and we have no tolerance for that. I think you'll see over time Roblox stepping up, even in the 13 through 17 zone, which we agree is a very vulnerable time for people, even when people are trying to do things like you're mentioning, which is going off platform. and being more and more the best in the world of those types of relationships. So we're very aware of this. We don't condone or support any type of image sharing on our own platform. And you'll see us get more and more, I think, way beyond where the law is of this type of behavior.
So does that mean that under 18s, not 13 to 18s, but just under 18s, will be less contactable by adults, do you think?
I think our vision is long-term. If you and I can imagine what the perfect platform would be. So for how do we both allow 15-year-olds who maybe have a common interest to become friends on our platform and really could end up in the real world being great friends for life, which we have an amazing amount of that. How do we balance that with keeping things very safe in that situation? And I'm quite confident you're going to see us be the best in the world at balancing both of those types of things.
So it's going to get tougher.
If you and I can imagine what AI can do in the way we can do it, you're going to see both really good connected communication in the right way, as well as tougher communication in maybe the scenario you mentioned.
The Online Safety Act in the UK is coming into force pretty soon in April, and that's aimed at protecting children specifically from online harm. And I know that lots of tech companies are sort of scrambling to comply with it. How is Roblox getting on?
We design systems not based just on the law, but what we think is going to be good for young people. And that actually ends up being very good for business. I would say we've seen some really good legislation come out of the UK, and then we've seen the US follow suit. We spend a fair amount of time working with US legislation because we're in support of essentially things that can help keep kids safe.
What's your message to parents who don't want their children on Roblox?
My message would be, if you're not comfortable, don't let your kids be on Roblox. That sounds a little counterintuitive, but I would always trust parents to make their own decision. I would say at the same time, there are literally tens and tens and tens and tens of millions of people having amazing experiences on our platform. There are parents who call me and say, look, my child was having a tough time. They were disconnected. They found connection on our platform, and thank goodness they're here today. They might not be with us if they had not found a connection at that moment in time. So it's an amazing balance, really our responsibility on safety and civility.
While many Roblox users are children, the number of adults in the gaming sphere has long outnumbered kids. Roblox has been vocal in its ambitions to appeal more to adults and expand growth.
You talk about wanting to age up the audience and attract more adults to the platform. How do you do that?
We started thinking even 10 years ago that we would have to build a platform that would be, really great for 6 and 60-year-olds at the same time. And that's what led us to some of the safety initiatives we've worked on. For older people to come on our platform, there just has to be amazing content. And because of some of those early decisions we talked about building an economy, we now have creators who make things like Dress to Impress.
You've talked a lot about 3D simulation.
That's right.
That's already a part of the whole experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where are you going with that next?
We just have started introducing for older players 3D voice simulation. It's very, very early.
What is 3D voice simulation?
So what 3D voice simulation means is typically in video games, when people are using voice to communicate, it's a little like everyone has a phone and we're all on a party line. In the real world, if we were to go to a cocktail party, we're not all on the phone on a party line. If I go over to the table over here in the cocktail party, because I'm closer, I can hear them better. And so we in the real world use our movement and how close we are to figure out who we're going to hear. So that's how we're doing 3D voice simulation in Roblox. And the interesting thing about it is for very large groups, like a Roblox company meeting, it makes it possible to have everyone together move around very naturally and talk to each other.
Do you have your company meetings in Roblox?
We are getting there.
A lot is changing in the tech world at the moment, and one of the biggest shifts is artificial intelligence playing a bigger role in our lives. Just like other US-based tech giants, Roblox wants to be at the forefront.
We need to talk about AI, of course,
Yeah.
because the whole world is talking about AI. How is AI progressing in Roblox?
We're starting to have, and what we've announced and we're really excited about, is the notion that any experience on Roblox can have unlimited generative AI as part of the experience. And so what that will mean is, in a fashion experience, rather than maybe choosing clothing for my outfit, I'll be able to describe what I'd like to wear. And AI will generate 3D clothing for me to put on. We also are going to make text generation possible to support. You know, we were thinking really be cool to imagine a young person making a Roblox experience and saying, I'd like to have a virtual William Shakespeare in the experience. And you know, have William Shakespeare be someone who can give an English lesson to someone.
There's a lot of discussion about the impact of AI on human creativity.
Yeah.
Are you concerned?
I'm an optimist. You know, we've seen a lot of technical revolutions in creativity. One might be the migration from hand-drawn or oil-painted imagery to photography, digital image photography, Photoshop, all of those types of tools. And I feel now, you know, there's probably multiples of people building art than there used to be when was the only way to do that. I think there's a lot of people who wouldn't see themselves as anyone who would ever build fashion. But if they could describe it or use a prompt to build that, they might say, well, actually, I'm pretty good at building fashion. I'm like good at imagining it and talking about it.
It's not just AI playing a bigger role in our lives. The tech companies powering it are gaining increasing influence in global politics, and many have cozied up to President Donald Trump, whose administration has been vocal in support of tech deregulation.
You've got a change of government in the US at the moment, and we're seeing quite an impact already, I think, on the big tech companies that are over there. You are a big tech company based in San Francisco. Are you noticing changes in the current political climate?
We haven't seen any yet. I would say what we have thought about is, in many, many cases, going back to safety, we've been doing things ahead of legislation, or we've been taking steps on our own.
But having said that, we are hearing that it seems that the tide is going against regulation in the US. You know, J.D. Vance talked about deregulation almost.
Yeah.
Is that an opportunity, or is that a concern for your company?
For us, we put so many Roblox-specific guardrails around how our systems would work already that I'm not concerned about it for us.
You're one of the biggest gaming platforms in the world right now.
Yeah.
Where do you want to be in 10 years' time?
We have publicly said, really, our mission is to connect 1 billion people every day with optimism and civility. And that starts to get into even the future, where we believe 3D communication will be more popular.
What would your advice be to a young person who wants to build a career in game development now?
When I meet young kids, I say, do your homework and like work hard at school. But I would say, above and beyond that, I would say there's a huge range of opportunities in the gaming ecospace. It's not just coding, it's art, it's production, it's fashion design, it's going to be experience design. So I think you don't have to be a coder to be a game creator. And I do think this digital economy is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. There are thousands and thousands of jobs being created.
How would you describe Roblox in 3 words?
The future of communication. Great, thank you.
Thank you.